up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It is your main man, Juggernaut of Multi-Platinum Production Team.
Arkatech Beatz.
Welcome to the music production live stream series. Yo, we're doing music production tonight, music production tutorials. I'm basically going to be giving you some of the sauce and what we do to produce for your favorite rappers, favorite rapper, favorite artist. I am part of Multi-Platinum Production Team, Arkatech Beatz. Shout out to my partner, Mike Trauma D. And together we have produced for the greatest of the greatest in hip-hop, Big Pun, Nas, Jadakiss, Raekwon the Chef, Terror Squad, Max B, French Montana, Wiz Khalifa, you name it, we've done it. 2 Chainz on the list. We keep going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny, and we will never stop. No Diddy. We're going to keep doing what we do. So tonight, I already did our music review series earlier tonight, so if you haven't already checked that out, make sure you check that out on YouTube. We are doing music reviews also for artists and producers, listening to songs, etc., trying to make sure guys are getting to their best music. And in the meantime, what we're also doing, man, we're doing these music production tutorials. We're doing this tonight. It's a little late. We get started late, but I needed to step out for a hot second to get myself some fresh air. You know what I mean? It's been a long day, but we're going to keep doing what we do. Shout out to my man, Coach Jay in the building, Kaz in the building. I'll see you. As always, we're going to get busy in this thing, man. Let's go. I got a sample in here that I was on the road just listening to. I just came back in from outside real quick. I had to run to the store real fast. And I came across this sample. And I just liked the way it was sounding. It was feeling pretty good. So what I did is I pitched it up a little bit. We put it at a key of about what key is this here? It's A minor, A sharp. Excuse me. Let's get this here fixed here. Go to A sharp real quick. And let me make sure that I don't have my MPC up on the other screen. Now, how did I do that? Didn't do that. Let me make sure that I get that correct. Overhead camera. Where's that at? Okay. Let's get this. Let's get this right here. I'm getting my camera angles right for my YouTube folks. My YouTube folks, they gotta see me. You know what I'm saying? I had the MPC not in the frame the way that it needs to be. So we're gonna get that taken care of. All right, we got that good. All right. So let's get this in the right key. All right, we're doing chromatic. So we're gonna be either A sharp or a B flat, one of the others. This is about a 71, give or take. 71 BPMs, that's what we're dealing with right now. So we did 2 things. So I got the sample. And now what I also did is I also grabbed a drum loop and I chopped it up. And I'm going to probably reprogram it, right, to whatever makes me feel like, a little bit better with that. Yeah, listen, 80 to 90 is like, it really depends. And I'm not going to hold you. A lot of the music that we've been placing recently has honestly not gone above 80. A lot of it has been ranging from about the sweet spot between 75 and 78, give or take. You know what I mean? But it really depends on the artist that you're producing for. So that your job as a producer is to do the research on the records that you like the most from the artist that you're trying to get to. So, for example, if you have an artist that you really like, you're supposed to create a playlist of the songs that you like the most. And honestly, what I tend to do is I might even loop up their records to just see what the tempos are. You know what I mean? And then kind of create like an aggregate of those tempos, so that you kind of know like this is what they sound good on. You know what I mean? And you have to basically start to kind of think forward on like, okay, if this is where they like their pocket is, this is what we want to try to maintain into. So let's try to jump into this. I looped it up. It's an 8-bar loop, but it's an 8-bar loop, but we're gonna do it for 4, and then we may have to double it if we need to do that. So I kind of wanted to go in that vein. So let's program the drum loop how I have it, and then we'll see if we want to do any fills to kind of make it our own. Right? This is the thing. We're going to start off with that, but then we're going to try to make it into our own. So you see how it's just going boom and then bap, but I wanted to kind of maybe go boom, boom, bap, right? So I kind of maybe wanted to do, 2 kicks there, boom, boom, instead of just a singular one, right? So instead of it just going boom, right, clap, I probably wanted to do the boom, boom, clap. So I'm just gonna add in the extra kick into it. We're gonna overdub it, and we're gonna add that in real quick. You can choose to do it on the same track, or you can choose to do it on separate track. Remember how this thing is done, man. The way you still have control over the singular pads, and then you still have control over the track itself. You know what I'm saying? So we can always do a track mute. We can do a track mute game, or we can do a mute game, or a pad mute game. So you can kind of do it both ways, so that you can still have ultimate control over it. That's what I love about the MPC right now, is that you have that control over your instrumentation, even when you're using loops, right? In a perfect world, and honestly, for the most control, we would probably get these down to we would probably truncate everything down to this bare minimum, right? Which would be we would truncate this drum to where we don't have any hi-hat in it, right? Truncate this pad till we have only the snare, right? And then we could reprogram everything just to have that ultimate control if you wanted to have it like that. But I feel like at this point it's kind of moot, right? Because yeah, I understand when people say, hey, they want to have the stems and they want to have these things separated, but remember you have programs now that can separate the stems off of the singular track. So, Richie, what's good, man? So now what I want to do on this now is I want to try to add some more percussion to it now to really make it into our own, man. You know what I'm saying? Because the key here is you want to make this stuff into your own as best as you can, especially when you're using loops. All right, because you don't want people to really just walk away with your ideas because you're using loops. So when you're using loops, there's always a danger of that, right? So you have to make sure that you're making it into your own so that you can have something that makes it feel somewhat original, right? So we're going to add an open hat on it real quick. I use 16 levels sometimes I use 16 levels to get us basically closer to where I want my instruments to be in the mix. If you've been following our series, I tend to use 16 levels for almost everything in terms of the drum programming, because what it helps to do for me is it helps to kind of create a situation where we're getting ourselves as close to the finished mix of the beat as we possibly can to save us time, right? What you don't want to do is you want to keep programming everything at the highest volume and then say, okay, you know what, I'm going to go back now when I have to tune it back down and bring it back down. Get it close to where you need it to be and really start paying attention to where you want your drums to sit. And once you kind of understand that, it'll help to save you time. It'll help to make you move this forward faster. Make sure that what you're doing also here, make sure y'all folks are liking, commenting, sharing the live. It needs to help the algorithm. Right now I'm looking at TikTok. These likes are abysmal. Can y'all guys help me with that? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this tambourine in. Everybody knows that I like to kind of go through my little tangent as far as my little percussions. That tambourine, get it going. Exactly, Amir. That's what we're doing. We're finding the sounds, man, and putting them in to make to enhance the feel. We're trying to make this joint, and then we're trying to also make sure that we're creating cohesion for the track. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times what's happening is that guys are producing the songs, and they're putting the records, and then they're like, why everything doesn't go? This box right here, this MPC, this is a magic fucking box. I don't think people really understand like how it helps to blend sounds and make sounds really go together that really shouldn't go, right? So it's already working for you, and then what we tend to do is we tend to overcomplicate it and make it go against the grain, right? So as long as we're keeping stuff in tune, that's probably the most important thing. Keep your sounds in tune, right? You can keep your sounds in tune. Like, it's telling you what our tunes are. Keep your sounds in tune and making sure that you're just balancing out the volumes, right? Separate your tracks so that you can kind of, control that. You know what I mean? And then you have an idea of what it is, and then kind of play around with certain effects, certain dynamics, EQs and stuff very sparingly. If you find that you have to EQ the shit out of a drum or EQ the shit out of a snare, it's probably not the right sound. And it took me a very long time to understand that. A lot of times you cannot seem to EQ your way, to what you want it to be. You know what I mean? If it's not sounding the way it needs to sound, you need to dig for more sounds. And we have more, you have more sounds available to you than ever before, right? Before, you couldn't get a 808 Mafia kid or whatever. You couldn't get those guys' sounds. These guys were hiding everything. Everybody's giving you everything that you need to have. So there's no reason why you can't have the poppiest snares, or you can't have the fullest of kick drums. Go look for them shits and stop being lazy and start, trying to just use the stuff that comes inside of the kits. Or sometimes you may have to buy a kit or two. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you do that. Sometimes you got to buy some drums. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no secret that people are buying people's drums. If you're listening to the Griselda sound, a lot of that stuff is coming from either Derringer or Beat Butcher. Like, what it is. Like, some of them drums is hot. Sometimes you can't replicate that. You know what I'm saying? They're asking what song did I produce on the documentary. I have a song that's on the documentary DVD. If y'all remember when the documentary was released, the game released the documentary as the album, and then he had the documentary DVD that was sold combined with the album. We have a song on the documentary DVD that's synced in there called "Never Be Friends," and it's a song with the game that he had an ode to one of his fallen guys. It had a sample in there from Aerosmith that didn't clear. Because it was tied up in a GMC commercial with Eminem. So he wound up taking that song and putting it into the documentary DVD, and because it was coupled with the album, it was considered as part of the album, and that's how come we got our credit in there and wound up getting our plaques on that. But it's called The Game, Never Be Friends. So now what I might do on this too now, I don't have a hi-hat on here, but I might just put like a cymbal. All right. Let's try to do that with a 16 level. Adding these sounds to it. feel like it's too high, I can still bring down the velocity a little bit, right? So I'm thinking take this velocity down to maybe about 75, and I think it'll get us exactly where we want it. Because I kind of want it there because it has a high level of reverb. Feel like how it carries over, and it's like a long tail as far as that how it sounds, and it helps to when I'm dealing with chops. It helps to hide the imperfection of some of the chops. If you're not taking the time to go into each sample and really make sure that the chop is truncated properly, then you can have these disjointed drums if you're not careful, right? So the way that you got to do that, you got to kind of mask it by putting other sounds on top of it, layering other things, doing a little effects, and make it kind of trick the listener's ear. We're gonna get some low end on this bitch, right? And because it already has a dope low end from the sample itself, but we're gonna add some additional low end through using an 808 that you guys know I like to do. I like to use 808s now and combine them with the soul samples, because what it helps to do is it helps to make boom bap feel like it's still part of like the trap font, still makes it feel like it's trappy, but it's not trap, right? Because the 808 is still there. And now that we're kind of finished with the Max Speed $1 Million Baby 4, and I'm listening to the tracks that got picked up and all of that, and I'm listening to how those sound sonically, like these songs are dancing. You know what I mean? Like when I talk about dancing in terms of how loud the drums are, dancing in terms of how the 808s are pronounced through, like these tracks are cutting through, and they're going to stand out. When you listen to them, on the rest of the album, you'll see what I'm talking about. Lay the foundation of it, and let's see if we need to flip it up. Right? Add that one last note in it, right? And then we should be good. But you see how it makes it all crazy. go. Ask me what DAW do I use? For right now, we kind of in between FL and I wouldn't really consider the MPC software a DAW, but it is to a degree. So I use that to a degree, and then Mike really likes to stay into Pro Tools. I haven't really used Pro Tools as much as I should, right? You got to realize that when I first got into Pro Tools, I was doing the Pro Tools when it first came out as the Digi-01, and I was doing Pro Tools since way back when. And I don't know, I just grew tired of it, to be honest with you. Like, I just got sick of using it. Like, once I started using FL, I just, I didn't see the need to use Pro Tools because I wasn't recording vocals like that, right? So I was just doing production, so I kind of just fell off of using Pro Tools altogether because I wasn't recording anybody anymore. Right, I had spent maybe like the first half of our careers like recording our artists because we had a bunch of artists that we assigned to us. So I was the one that was primarily responsible for recording them. And you got to realize that my recording background was coming from like, I was using the first thing that I was using was like 4 tracks, and then went from 4 tracks to a 8-track ADAT. Then wind up getting more ADATs. Of course, and then DA88s, and then that's when I started using Digi-01, and then we went to like the hard disk, right? We were doing the rolling 1680s and the 2180s, and we were using hard disk recording for a while, and then went back to Pro Tools, and then when I decided to move to Atlanta, right, because we tried to we saw everything constricting in New York, and I said, I'm going to make the move to Atlanta to set up shop for our Atlanta arm. And I came to Atlanta. Then at that point, I had really stopped recording, right? I wasn't recording anybody anymore, so I just started to just use FL as just a production tool and not using Pro Tools anymore. And it really been like that since then, But I'm looking to get back into it. Because now that I'm doing the Future Producer Society, I want to make sure that my guys are versed in whatever they may need to use. And if I don't feel like I'm able to deliver that, I have some engineers that are part of the team that I could lean on to give some of their insight in terms of how they do their signal processing and how they set up their chains and stuff like that. Extra note here. Like, I thought it was cool, but it doesn't sound like it's clean to me. So I'm gonna take it out. it's not for the faint of heart, man. It's like you can like, to me, the use of Pro Tools is about repetition. And if you're not using it consistently, you will forget like where things are. Especially when things start to upgrade, then you kind of like, okay, where is this at again? Where is that again? And you would think that all dolls are the same, and they're just not. They're just not. And your proficiency is going to be directly impacted by how often you use it and your repetition, and it's really like building up a muscle, like, you know what I mean? So remember, I'm a huge proponent for what works for you. Use what makes you feel comfortable and helps with your workflow, right? Because what we need to do is we need to have a cadence of being able to produce and to make music, right? You don't need to have a situation where you're fighting with your software every night. You know what I mean? Like, you need to make sure that you're able to produce finished songs or finished tracks. So you don't want to be in a situation where you're fighting your software, bro, or fighting your hardware. You don't want to do that. But there's like a very, very faint string line in the back. So I'm going to try to accentuate that. We're going to just add the one string line. We're not going to do anything different. Alright, and then what we're going to do, we're going to go into it, and we're going to just add some flavor on it, right? We're going to turn that on. We're going to turn up the delay in the mix, and we're going to turn up the reverb in the mix, right? To make it sound a little bit more full. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back here, and then we're going to bring it down into the mix. We're going to copy the sequence over. So we're going to copy the sequence to sequence number 2. And we're going to call this the verse, right? Because you heard how it sounded when we have it go 8 bars. So this is just going to loop like this as the main verse. And then we're going to go back to the other one, the other sequence. We're going to turn this into the verse, into the hook. And then we're going to double it up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the sample itself. Right? We're going to fix the arrangement where we trigger it again, and we're going to delete that note. So we're going to delete that secondary note. Get that out of here. Now we may need to reprogram the second half of the 808 just so that it matches where the track is changing. But let's listen to it. Let's go. We gotta find that note. for the beat. Nighttime cruising. Shout out to everybody that's in the live, that's watching us cook up again. You know, we're on that cook up trend again. You know, like when we start cooking up, stuff start tasting real good. Pause. We start cooking up, you know, the dinner plate start getting full. I think I want to add a piano in here. I hear it in there. Kaz, my man, let me tell you, the way you dedicated to this thing, my brother, watch how it go. I'm gonna do this piano is I'm gonna go to the 808, and I'm gonna do something. I don't want to say tricky, but because I wanted to kind of follow the 808, it doesn't make any sense for me to sit here and try to reprogram something that I kind of want to go in the same vein. I'm gonna copy it, then I want to go to the piano. And I'm going to paste it in. Go to the top of the track. We're going to paste that here. right? Alright, so we've pasted those notes in, and then what we're gonna do, we've already selected them. What we're gonna do is we're gonna edit the end, right? So we're gonna make these longer notes, right? So if you notice what we're doing, we're making the notes long, right? All right, cool. So now we're gonna select all. We're gonna copy those again, right? And with this, before we paste it, we're gonna transpose this down. Is at C2. We're gonna transpose it down to C1, right? All right. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back up, and then we're gonna paste it in for that higher octave, and it'll double it up. Yeah, we gotta put in the reps though, man. Like, that's part of the reason of getting on every night is just showing folks it's about the repetition, man. It doesn't matter which we're using. If we're using Ableton, and I like Ableton, to be honest. I like all of these platforms. Like, you know what I mean? Because I think each of them provides something very different in terms of what can create your sound. I just think that you have to put the time in, and I think what happens is like this. And I used to be this guy. I used to be what we call a gear junkie, right? Every time something came out, I had to go get it. Gear junkie, gear junkie, gear junkie. Tens of thousands of dollars. Gear junkie, gear junkie, gear junkie. It wasn't making my music sound better. It wasn't. It wasn't making my music sound better, right? When I finally decided that I wanted to go back to hardware, right? Because I was using Serato. I think the last record that I was using, I used Serato to do the Lloyd Banks record, right? The Lloyd Banks Halloween Havoc. On Halloween Havoc 5, we did the record called Taking Notes. I used Serato to do that. It came out good. It's a good record, right? But it still doesn't have the MPC feel / sound, right? So I said I'm gonna go back to hardware. We reached back out to Kai and Andy Mack and these guys, and they were like, yo, they can give us, artist price or whatever. But they were backlogged in terms of not having, any MPCs because it looked like they were trying to discontinue it. So I should have known back then. I should have known. Wasn't sure. So it looked like they were trying to upgrade. This is like a little over a year ago, maybe like a year and a half. Actually, I'm wrong in saying that. Yeah, it's a little bit over the year and a half, right? Because I got it in September of 24, right? So it was a little bit, it's almost 2 years now, right? So a little bit, like almost 2 years now. So anyway, I said, I'm going to get this box, and I'm going to stay in this box. And when I decided to do that, and decided not to go extra VSTs, don't go extra this, don't try to, take the box now, and then now, keep tapping into the software and then using the software now to use all the extra plugins, because I still got plugins from like FL and all these other plugins that I could use with the MPC. I can use them, and it just makes it more complicated. Once I decided to dumb it down, keep it only in the box, do everything here, mix it in here, right? Because sometimes me and Mike go back and forth, because Mike sometimes still likes to mix inside of the DAW. And I'm like, yo, it's an extra step. It's an extra time. It takes extra everything. When this is designed for you to use it straight out of the box. So anyway, I'm just using one thing, and as I started to just dumb it down, use one thing, then I'm able to now create faster, right? So while you're working on the joint for hours, I'm done. You know what I mean? And I'm on to the next joint. So that increases my chances of something landing, right? So while you're producing 10, I'm producing 30, right? So who has a greater chance of landing more records? It's going to be the person that can produce more in a quicker fashion, and that's one of the advantages that the trap guys that use FL Studio had over us, is that they were able to create those songs lickety split. They weren't taking a super long time to create those songs, and that's what kind of put them at an advantage. But the only issue was it all sounded the same, right? So hence the reason why I love to use samples, because it kind of creates a situation where sometimes samples force you to make a record sound different, right? Like you might want to lean into a certain type of sample all the time, but it's very hard to find the same type of samples every time. So it kind of creates a situation where you're not going to be able to do the same thing, indefinitely. So you see what we just did? We layered this. We layered it so that it does this for us. All right, so our piano was doing what we wanted to do. So let's see how it sounds when I put everything together. Soundcast. So now what I need to do is I need to go back here, go back to the piano arrangement, and then I need to highlight the first 4 bars of that, right? Let's take that. Hold on here. Let's see if I can get this to play nice. All right. Let's copy this, right? Yeah, man, this is like a nighttime cruise joint, man. Like this is one of them type of ones. Like just smoke, whatever. Yeah, we want to make it. We want to make this stuff clean, man, and we're just trying to create at a high clip. We have to remember we have to remember that this thing requires us to, the more music we make, the better chance of something landing. And that's one of the key takeaways from last year when we started the live stream was to just create a cadence that you can keep doing. Okay, cruise control. It's funny, I call it nighttime cruising, so I was right there with you. Copy this verse into a second part of the verse. Remember what we said? We want an 8 bar for the first verse. We want 8 bars for the first part of the verse, And then for the second part of the verse, we want it to be 4. So we're going to take this down to 4. And then we're going to strip out the 808 and leave the piano in. Now, we can do it one of two ways. We can let the other part of the verse it says it's tough. How come you don't have over 100 viewers? Because you got to share it, man. You got to share it, John. Let's go. Share it. Let's get it over. We got to get. Welcome to the channel, bro. Let's put it all together, right? We're going to go from the hook to the verses and then back to the hook again. Ready? So this joint is called Nighttime Cruising. We have been live for approximately an hour. So we cooked this up in an hour. Welcome to the music production live stream. I am your host, multi-platinum producer, juggernaut of Arkatech Beatz. I am responsible for your favorite rappers' production. Big Pun, Nas, Prodigy of Mobb Deep, Jadakiss, The Game, Freddie Gibbs, Killer Mike, Raekwon the Chef of Wu-Tang, Max B, French Montana, Wiz Khalifa, 2 Chainz, Shorty Low, Waka Flocka Flame, Sci-Hi the Prince. Did I say Freddie Gibbs? I probably did. But you get the picture. Real time, real stuff. Welcome to the channel. If you want to learn how to do this music production, make sure you're joining our school community, school.com at Future Producer Society. Make sure you're doing that. We're teaching not only music production, but music business, right? I'm a 20-year vet in this thing. I've seen it all. So let's go. Do here is I want to turn down the 808, right? Because you can hear it's sort of overloading. If you listen to it very carefully, you can hear it. I'm gonna 808 out. Here we go. We're gonna bring this 808 down a little bit because I can make it. I want to hear it. But I want to hear it like a smooth, right? I don't want to hear it like overpowering the bass that's already there. Okay, I think I know what to do. When we go into the second part of the verse, what we're going to do is we're going to delete this trigger here, right? Because remember we have an 8-bar loop. Arkansas, what up? So remember we have an 8-bar loop, right? So I want to make it go like this. It's an 8-bar loop. We're going to trigger it for the first 4 bars. We're going to re-trigger it for another 4. Well, we're going to go 4 bars, trigger again at bar 5, and then we're going to let that play for 8. So that'll give us our 12. So we're going to take it, we're going to hit it the first time, let it play for 4, hit it again, let it play for 8, and that'll give us our 12 bars. So what it'll do is, because it's in the same track and we're not re-triggering it, it's going to play all the way through to the other track, and then when we get back to the hook, we should be good. So let's listen to it and let's see how, like I said, when we put it all together, because I want it to build up before we get to the next track. So cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to pull out the piano, pause. Well, maybe not. Maybe what I could do is I could take the piano arrangement. Let me select this piano arrangement. Let me delete it. And maybe what I could do is I could take the piano arrangement from the hook. I could copy the last 4 bars of that, like so. I could copy that. And then go back to that second part of the verse, and then add that part of the piano arrangement there, and then it'll go. Because remember, we're using the second part of the sample to go into this part of the beat. And I want the piano to stay there, but not the 808. So we should be good if we're doing it that way. Why you do that? Brought you here? Well, I hope you subscribe, man. Let's go. $1 Million Baby 4 on the way. Max B, featuring production by yours truly, Arkatech Beatz. We're really deep on there. You should check out our Wiz Khalifa record. Check out our record with, of course, French Montana, Me Too, and then also check out our other joint with 2 Chainz. And then also featuring production. Shout out to Dame Grease. That's the joint, man. Nighttime cruising, man. Like, that's it. Like, that's the beat. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, really, that's it. Like, there ain't nothing else for us to do. Yo, shout out to everybody that has been in the live with us. doing this nighttime cruising. We've been on there approximately an hour. We were on earlier doing music reviews. So I'm gonna try to maintain the cadence. 8 o'clock music review, and maybe a 9:30, maybe a 9:30, music tutorial. I'm gonna just try to see how the cadence feels. But the reality of the situation is that we have to continue to put music out. We have to continue to put content out. We have to continue to be on that. Like, this is what it requires. This is the new normal in this music business. It's no longer like a thing where you can just like, create a record and, that's it. You're just done. You just got to keep making joints, and you just got to keep acting like as if nothing landed. You got to keep going. You celebrate a little bit, but not too long, and just keep it pushing. Shout out to everybody that jumped into the live stream. Shout out to everybody that has been commenting, following, subscribing, sharing, doing all that other good stuff. I do appreciate you. I do appreciate everybody that dropped the gifts in. I appreciate the people that drop in the super chats. I do appreciate the folks who are doing their music reviews for scrutiny, right? They're trying to get their music better, and I want to make sure that I can help do that in terms of giving them constructive feedback and making sure that folks are getting better with their music. And also for my folks that are in my Future Producer Society, more stuff is coming in. Just make sure that you're paying attention. I'm just trying not to overwhelm you with too much data. You know what I mean? I don't really want to turn it into a data center, because I can become very cerebral and sometimes can overwhelm with, just different information, you know what I'm saying? And information is great, but it's like I don't want it to be like analysis paralysis. I need executable things. I need people to be able to execute. If you can't execute, then you can't see any growth. So I don't want to be in a situation where everybody's just, an analysis paralysis, just information overload, and nothing never gets done and nothing ever changes. Like, in order for us to make the progress, we got to make the changes. We have to we have to execute on the ideas, execute on getting the music done, execute on getting the music out, right? Execute on getting it registered, execute on getting it monetized, execute on getting it promoted, so that we can, start to build up a catalog and a cadence and an online presence, because that's also necessary for you to sell music, is to have sort of an online presence, and it takes time to build. So I want cats to kind of watch how we're doing it daily, long-term content, short form content, posting stuff. Look how we're framing stuff. Look how we're adding our songs and stuff. Just pay attention to how we're doing it, so that you can kind of say, okay, you know what I mean? Some posts go viral, some posts don't. You know what I'm saying? Some posts might have 400 views. Another post might have 100,000. It just kind of depends on how things get put together. It takes time. Yeah, that's the method of getting it done. So for those who are interested in being, producing and interested in that, make sure you're joining our Future Producer Society. It is free to join, right? But of course, members have different perks. Of course, members are going to have access to things first, and members are going to be able to get like all of the books and all of the courses and everything. Those things become included in their membership. So everything that we're adding in that is paid, that becomes part of their paid membership. So you don't have to continue to, we continue to add value to it, so that, you continue to have things that you're going to be able to look at, work on, and stuff like that. So that's what we're on, man. Make sure you're jumping on that. I'm about to jump off, but before I jump off, we're going to be doing this new joint. This is called Nighttime Cruising.
Arkatech Beatz.